Nicole Auerbach joins us again. And it's really helpful that she's on this week because Nicole, after Virginia lost to Louisville, I quit college football. So I'm not even going to act like I saw a lot of football Saturday. It was alumni weekend here. Maybe I got drunk and about 11 p.m. I was like, oh, there's still football on. They all kept playing. What did you see Saturday that stood out? What was the biggest story to you in college football?
Well, first of all, maybe you drank alcohol
Yeah,
to forget the Virginia game. I feel like the odds are a little bit higher than maybe for that.
yeah, it was
So
more than maybe.
I need to know what was the drink of choice after a game like
Oh,
that.
well, obviously cold Miller Lite, but a lot of I busted open this Macallan that's got like an orange label, and I like
Ooh.
Scotch, but I'm no like smart guy that drinks Scotch, so I don't know like which is which. I kind of stick to the basics, but my father-in-law gave me this nice bottle of Scotch. I think it's 18 years old, and it's got an orange label, and I was like, "Fuck it, we're busting this thing open," So a little
Shouldn't
Scotch, a
that? But
little.
I feel like that should have been for like a good occasion though. Maybe
No, no,
not.
that's when no, that's a good this is a good debate because I feel like you want to drink your expensive liquor when your pets' heads are falling off. Like in Dumb and Dumber when they're just it's the
Yeah.
pits. Like I'm going to top shelf when the chips are down. So like when we win, I'll drink anything. Like it could be whatever. But when we lose, I got to treat myself, Nicole.
Okay, so that's fair. I kind of operate the other way. Like I will buy a nice bottle of Vouv when I want to
Yeah,
celebrate something instead of
yeah.
like $9 prosecco. And I actually don't think it helps at all with the headache. But this is a perfect segue because I do want to talk about a team that should be popping bottles and should be celebrating. And I think hopefully the good stuff. JMU.
Oh, here we
JMU is
go.
ranked.
Yeah, yeah.
They are 5 games in to being an FBS program. Do you know
Right.
how ridiculous this is that they're already ranked? We just went through this whole thing about how long it had been since Kansas was relevant and ranked, all these things. JMU gets to do it 5 games in. Like they look really good. And I knew this program was built like they were ready to make this jump, but it never goes this smoothly. So I hope that
Yeah.
they are actually popping bottles to celebrate
Well, my producer, Cowboy Reed, is drunk right now. I mean, he's trying to hide it, but I know he's drunk because this weekend, as you said, like his Dukes are top 25. I just want to point this out: deepest football state in America. It might be the deepest, not the best, but maybe the deepest football state in America. I'm just putting that out there, Nicole. Like,
But does deepest need to be good though?
no,
Shouldn't there
no.
be a
We're
quality
just we're riding
code?
JMU's coattails. Like that's what we're doing. Like
Okay.
JMU, and then the time ODU beat Tech, and then Virginia Tech will probably win a game, like a big game in here somewhere. Hopefully not against us later in the year. But yeah, we're a deep football state. I was thinking
Okay.
about yeah,
Deep.
like I just lost a bet earlier. Commanders. I bet on the Commanders. I don't know why. And yeah, I should be popping Ace of Spades. You make a good point. I'm rethinking the way I drink. Okay, so JMU's ranked. They're
Yep.
25th in the nation. When will they be humbled? Because that happened to Kansas, right? This weekend we had the big coming out party,
They were
game
not
day.
they were not humbled.
Okay, I missed it. So
This
tell
is
me.
my okay, so this is the main takeaway.
Yeah.
Kansas acquitted itself really well, even though Jalen Daniels got hurt. Their backup quarterback, by the way, you'll love it. His name is Jason Bean. Bean is just a great
It's a
name.
great
There's so
name.
many jokes that you can make. I actually had a tab open at one point. It was just like bean puns. I was trying
Yeah.
to find like some good, funny things that people could just like roll their eyes at. Surprisingly, not a lot of good bean puns, but
You like over
like
under 5 on your sheet of paper.
I tried, but I just like ended up going for like a screenshot of Mr. Bean because
Yeah.
there really
Perfect.
wasn't much. But what was cool about that though was that Kansas remained an incredibly fun offense, really creative
Yeah.
and really competitive. I mean, I think a lot of people thought that TCU was just going to blow them out and that they were not in this league, but Kansas really did play well. They had a chance to win it at the end. It was legitimately a game that lived up to expectations. So I don't think that Kansas was necessarily humbled. I don't think anyone thought they were going to go undefeated, except for
Yeah.
myself and
I
all of
did
the
too.
college
I
football
did too.
playoff talk. For
Yeah.
yeah, I know. I outside of the two diehard fans on this podcast,
Yeah.
um, I think that they're going to factor into the Big 12 race no matter how it plays out, just because someone's
Yeah.
going to have to go through them. I think they're just a good football program.
Yep.
So that was my main takeaway. And also, it's fun to talk about Jason Bean, and
Yeah.
he played really, really well. Last year, I'll give you this stat. I know this is mostly a fun podcast, and we don't want too many
I
stats.
like stats. No, I
But
like stats. We're stats. We do a lot of stats sometimes. Sometimes.
okay. That made me immediately think of the Pat Narduzzi drop, the stats are for losers drop.
Stats are for
Okay, so
losers, dude. Narduzzi was so mad at ESPN after that first game this year. Do you remember his
he
post game
was.
interview? He was so pissed. He was like, "I'm coming to Bristol and I'm kicking everybody's ass." I'm like, "All right, chill, bro."
He's always mad about something.
He's
That
mad.
is
He's a
totally a
Pittsburgh
Pat
guy.
Narduzzi
Pittsburgh
thing.
guy.
Yeah, he's perfect. Okay, so last year, Jason Bean started 9 games for Kansas. He threw 6 total touchdowns and threw 6 interceptions over the course of the entire season. He threw 4 touchdowns in the second half on Saturday. Like, that's
Damn.
a good offensive coordinator. That's a much better football team. So I'm still all in on Kansas.
You must be
Maybe not
beaming
college
with
football
pride.
playoff, but
You must be beaming with pride.
wow. Are you proud of yourself? That was a pretty
I
good
am.
one.
Yeah, that's very good.
That one was good.
Okay, cool. Okay, we're not like out on Kansas. They're a good football team. Who's got game day
Not yet.
this week, by the way?
Tennessee.
Oh,
Tennessee
oh my God.
hosting Alabama.
America's team, dude. America's team, and it's reflected in the way you ranked Bama after this weekend. Talk to me about Bama. They're down at what, 7 for you?
Okay, so I dropped them significantly, and they didn't drop that much in the AP poll, but they did lose their number 1 ranking. I just thought that they looked very pedestrian without the Heisman Trophy winner, which is probably very obvious that Bryce Young did a lot. I mean, he was kind of a magician at different times last year and against Texas and earlier this year. But it was just such a massive drop off about like what they can do. If Jimbo Fisher calls a better play with the game on the line, they lose that game. And Jalen Milroe, it's just like it's reminiscent of like the early Nick Saban Alabama teams where the offense wasn't evolved and wasn't explosive. And it's just a grind. So I don't think that is one of the 4 best teams in the country. We'll see, though, because Tennessee looks really, really good. I don't know if anyone would say that they actually are America's team, even though I know we love to, just label everyone America's team.
Yeah, we just label
people
them,
are people are tired of Alabama, for sure.
Yeah, that's what makes them this weekend, to me. We're all going to be volunteers. Today, we are all volunteers, that kind of thing.
They're America's team of the week.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of, now you're getting this segment. You're getting it. We're on it.
Okay.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we almost gave it to the Dukes, but I think you're right that Tennessee is probably it. Like, this was a Tennessee team that I had questions about how they were going to play at LSU, even though LSU's not been great, and they just totally blew the doors off them in that game. And like, they looked better defensively than they have. Hendon Hooker is a legitimate Heisman candidate. This is going to be a really good game, especially if Bryce Young either can't go or isn't 100%. People are going to really be riding Tennessee in this one.
And I just want to take a minute to point out that Hendon Hooker was in Blacksburg. And if you go to Blacksburg, you'll be that much worse than the best version of yourself, because the best version of Hendon Hooker is in Knoxville. I don't care where you go, just don't go to Blacksburg. If you're listening to this pod and you're a great college football prospect, look at what happened to Hendon Hooker. He's like the best guy ever now. And in Blacksburg, we weren't even afraid of him, So
that's also why that's why it's America's team.
That's why it's America's team.
This is
just
definitely related.
Drive Blacksburg stock down. How about DTR? Is he in the Heisman race?
Yeah, I think he is too. So this is another thing. If you missed it on Saturday because you were trying to drink away a bad loss, which there were plenty across the country. It was not just you guys. But
there was a lot of drinking.
UCLA is really, really fun too. I think like I know that's kind of what I continue to sell you on every single week is like teams that are fun. But their offense is 3-dimensional. Obviously, you've got DTR, and he's playing better over the last 2 weeks than he has his entire career at UCLA. And he came in with so much hype. This is like the quarterback we thought we were going to get. Mm-hmm. And then Jake Bobo, the receiver, and Zach Charbonnet, the running back. Like, that is just a really ridiculously talented trio. And they're for real. I mean, like, this is going to be a UCLA team that I think when they play USC is going to be really competitive. In a couple weeks, they're going to play Oregon. Like, the Pac-12 is so much more competitive in the top half, and UCLA is a great example of that. But, like, I legitimately think DTR is going to have a Heisman push, and that's something I think a lot of people wrote him off and said that he didn't live
Yeah.
up to expectations. The same way we did about DJ Uyunglele, right? Like
Yeah.
people wrote him off and now he's playing well. It's kind of the same thing with DTR, although he's fantastic over the last 2 weeks. If he keeps playing like this, he's going to get a trip to New York, which is pretty stunning. And I don't know if anyone would have said like UCLA, potential Pac-12 champion,
Yeah.
potential playoff team, potential Heisman candidate, but that's really where we are with Chip Kelly's team.
I think people wrote Chip off in like in a way, you know, nationally. People were like, Chip Kelly's going to UCLA. This will be fun. And then they kind of struggled out of the gates, it felt like, if my memory serves me correctly. And DTR kind of was up and down. And you know, watching from the other side of the country, I could feel the vitriol for this kid because there was so much expectation. And it's also cool to see. I know, like, transfer portal, great. Like, it's good. Guys are moving around. But, like, a guy stays in one place. I feel like he's been there a million years, you know, like relative to seeing other guys in one program. And it's working out for him. So happy for that kid. How about this? I'll leave you on a tough one. How bad does it have to get in Miami for people to start, like, talking about it? You know, I know people are talking about it, but I mean it. You know, I don't want to say that out loud, but, like, it's not a this year thing.
It's early. No, it's so early.
But it's Miami. It's like they're crazy.
But it's so they are.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's another one that I'll throw in there and not say it. Oklahoma.
Yes.
Like, as close as you can be to, I like texted this to one of my colleagues. I was like, I know Brent Venables isn't on the hot seat.
Right.
But, like, and I know obviously, like, the whatever honeymoon period is totally gone. But, like, this is bad. This is a bad football team. Like, it's really uncomfortable and bad. And the Oklahoma fans are just rioting. Like, they're just every single Saturday, Lincoln Riley's name trends on Twitter during the Oklahoma game.
And his
like,
brother.
It's bad. Yes. It's bad. And so, like, in both of those situations, like, it's year one. We're not even halfway through season, but it's bad. It's really uncomfortable in both of those situations because, like, you thought this was going to be a slam dunk hire, and it's just uncomfortable.
Yeah, I remember Venables on the PJ Boomer, and you're like, man, this guy, he says Boomer like real smooth. This feels like it's a perfect fit.
That's all you need.
It felt dangerous how smooth he was with the whole Boomer Sooner thing, and I was like, damn, this guy, it fits like a glove. But yeah, interesting. Couple new coaches having trouble finding their footing in big programs, and we'll see how the patience is in certain places. Okay, Nicole, appreciate you. It sounded like a fun Saturday for some college football fans, and we can't wait to have you back next week.
All right, see you next week.
Thanks a lot. Listen to the full podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast streaming platforms. Wherever you want to get the podcast, you can get the podcast. Pretty simple. New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Podcasts get pretty wild. This is real tame.